Hey everyone, my name is Robin Solonenko and I'm your Access 365 database instructor. And this is a video from my Access Expert course. This is a must-know video for all Access developers. Quite often you will have multiple combo boxes where one combo list is dependent on the previous combo box. In this short video, I'll show you how to change the combo options based on what the user selected in the previous combo box. Don't forget to check out the entire Access Expert course on my site, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back everybody to this topic where we now get to work with auto-populating combo boxes. This is very popular and you all use it even on the internet. And an example here is where you may select a country like United States, and then the second auto combo box will adjust to show you all the states for that particular country. Therefore, if someone picks a different country, the second combo box will adjust again. So these are very popular to do. It takes a little bit of a setup, but they're not that hard. So let's take a look at an existing example here. If you open up your form cars, FRM cars, you can see right now we have Chev and Camaro. So we're expecting the users to type a Chev and type a Camaro. And if they do Ford, they can do other ones as well. So the point here, though, the problem here is we're expecting them to type it. So what we want to do at all costs, and I've stressed this from course 1, is the less typing we can have our users do, the better. Because if they type, they make mistakes, and then it ruins our filters, and the queries don't work correctly. So the more we can take typing away, the better it is for us at the end of the day. So if you take a look in your table section, I've already, in this version, there are 2 tables that I already put in there for you. It should be table car, TBL car make and TBL car model. So you can see here on the make one, we have 2 makes, Chev and Ford. And then on the model one, we have Chev, Ford, the Camaro, F-150 Fusion, Impala, and Tahoe. So the idea is when they pick the Chev, the list will only filter to the 2 Chev models. And when they pick the Ford, it's only the 3 Ford models that they can choose from. So you have to have 2 tables like this created first, which I've already done that for you. It doesn't matter if we have a primary key, although we should. You can see this one, if we take this table car model, go into its design view, and the model is the primary key there. And in the car make, well, we only have one field and it's a primary key. And that's just to make sure we don't have duplication going on. Okay, you can close those 2 out. So the first step we need to do before we modify that form is create a query. So go up to your Create tab, go to your Query Design, and select your 2 tables here on the right, table car make and table car model. And you will see there will be a line come in between. And if you double click that line, which is very hard I see today, okay, it's not coming in. There we go. And you can see it's a standard link here, only include rows where the join fields are on both are equal. That's okay, that's what we want. Okay, so in the query down below, what you need to do is we need to select the make from car make and the model from car model. Okay, so the query, this is the whole point. The query is when they choose something from the make side, it will then query and pull from the other side. But the criteria is what's critical here. So expand this if necessary. Zoom in, if you want, to the criteria row for the make field. Now, the criteria for this is going to be, we did this earlier, this is where we pass values between forms and queries. So this is what we're doing here. So it's going to be in square brackets, forms, exclamation mark, and this is going to be on the cars form, and specifically, exclamation mark, the object which we haven't created yet, we're going to call it CBO make. So you can see here, whatever the user enters for the make, i.e. Chev, will get thrown into the criteria, and then it'll filter and only show you the two on the other side, which is the Camaro and the Tahoe. Okay, so just all in square brackets, object name, form name, and the object name of the field CBO make, which we haven't created yet. We're about to do that. All right, click OK. And we're going to save this query as QRY make gets model. Okay, that's all we're going to do. Hit OK. And now we have that query make gets model over there. All right, you can close out the query. Let's go back to our cars form in design view. And we're going to delete this make and model that's currently there. Those are just standard text files or text fields. Delete them. And we're going to create our own new ones. So from the form design ribbon, the control group, you're looking for this button here, the combo box. So select the combo box. Click it just where underneath the assigned. And now this is what's going to be a little bit different for you. So the first part is which one, how do you want it to get its values? Do you want to type the values? No, we already have the values. I want the combo box to get the values from another table or query. Click next. Which table? Well, it's going to be the table car make. That's the one that lists all the makes. So in this case, it's just Chev and Ford. Next. There's only one field in there, so bring it over. Next. Sure, let's sort it. Not that we have a lot in there. Next. And you can always, this size is here. You can always size it later in the properties. That's up to you. Next. And now when they pick one, Chev or Ford, where do you want to store it? Well, we want to store it in the field called make. So put it back into that field. Whereas before, before we modified this form, they had to type in Chev or Ford. Now they're just picking from a drop-down. All right, click next. And we'll call this CBO make. Because remember, this object is what's called upon in the query. So make sure you spell that the same, CBO make. Finish it, and that's done. And we'll line it up in a minute. Now let's do another one, another combo box just below that. And this time again, I want the combo box to get the values from another table or query. Next. And here's what's different for you. You're going to choose query now because we want this drop down to execute a query, and it's the query make gets model. Where is that? Right there. So we want that to execute that query. Next, what fields do we want? Well, we only want the model because the make is already on the other side. So just give me the model. Next, sure, let's sort by model. Next. Now, this is happening because it can't execute while you're in a wizard. So it's giving you a name error. That will always be. So we just say next. And again, where do you want to store it? We will store it in the model field. We'll put that answer back in the table in model. Next. And we'll call this CBO model. Okay, so this is the name of the second dropdown. Click finish. And there we are. Now let's rename these labels properly. So that's make. This is model. If you want to just take a minute and format them accordingly, size them, line them up to the other ones, align left and right. Then I like to select all of these and do a size equal vertical, space them out properly. Okay, so let's just take a look first because we're not quite done yet. Let's see what we got. So you can see Chev and Camaro. I can see there's Chev and Ford. I can see, oh, I get a little boo-boo here because that's to be expected. We're not quite finished, but it's somewhat working. And that's what I expected. So we got one more thing to do. So come back to design view, click on the make combo box, so the CBO make drop down, go to its event tab, and the event here that we need to access is after update. So remember, when the user selects something, Chev or Ford, what we're saying is after they choose that, so after update, in this field here, ... code builder, you can see there it is. What do you want me to do? What we needed to do is CBO model, that is the next, that's the name of the next dropdown, .requery. So we want to tell it to requery. Go and execute that query again. And that query says, well, go back to make and tell me what model or what make they've chosen, and I will get you a new record set. Okay, so we'll close that out. We'll go test this now. And I'll do a new record down here. Make, Chev. Oh, we still have a debug. Let's see what's going on. Okay, it looks like I forgot to actually name them. I used them in the VBA, but I didn't name them. All right, so let's come back to here. Go back to design view. Oops, I'll have to hit the escape key to get out of that. In design view, I didn't come over here and give them a name. They're still called combo 37. So that should be CBO make. Whoops, no period on that. And the model is CBO model. So, okay, hopefully you caught that. So we have to rename them here in the Alt tab, CBO make, model, CBO model. Now it should work. Execute, Chev. Oops, now did I spell it wrong? Oh, that's because it's not called, the form's not called cars, it's FRM cars. That is why. So escape key out of this. Design view. I need to go back to that query, make gets model, into design view. And this is called FRM underscore cars. That's the name of the object. Okay, once you modify that in the query, we should be good. Oh, yeah. That invalid syntax there. Didn't delete that one. There we go. Okay, let's try this one more time. Choose Chev, and there's my Camaro, Impala, Tahoe. If I change my mind, go to Ford, and then I get, oh, it didn't update. What's going on? Okay, let's take a look. I think it's in the VBA. Let's go back into our design view here. Oops, I'm going to hit the escape key. Go back in our design view, activate the make CBO, and hit the after update ... here. And, oh, that's what happened. Okay, here's a little lesson learned here. So we typed this in, but it was on combo 37. Then we changed the name to CBO make, and therefore it lost its VBA code. So note to self, you should not be changing these names. You see they don't update automatically. That's the first thing. But while I'm here, I just realized I'm missing another line of code. We should say CBO model equals null. So just to recap here, what's going to happen. So the first time through, you choose your, your Chev, and it will query and get the three Chev models. When the user goes back and chooses Ford, this statement says once you're finished making your selection, empty out the models and then go requery. Okay, that's what that's doing there. So we'll close this out, switch it back to form view. Let's try this. So now Chev, and there's my Tahoe. I changed my mind. I go to Ford. Do you see how it wiped out the model? And now there's only F-150 and the Fusion. So every time I make a choice up here, it will clear out the model. And this is a good thing because, if, for example, if I escape key, and I hit the back here. If I come back to, let's say, this Ford Fusion here, if I were to hit Chev and I don't clear it out, and let's say it was still Fusion, it will save it as a Chev Fusion. And if I'm not paying attention, I close out the record, and now we have a Chev Fusion. So this way here, it actually clears it out. Now, of course, you could have made this a required field, so that way the user still has to come back and choose a model. But that's what that extra line, the CBO model equals null, does, and that's why we need it. Okay, so I'll put it back to Ford and F-150. Okay, so just to recap this, you basically have two tables for this, or three, because you could have, more. Remember, you could have a country, state, and city, that type of thing. So you need your tables here. You can do relationships if you want. That's okay. And then you go and create a query in here. So the query make gets model. And whoops, I can't try that again. Okay, do this query. And the key here is this sentence or this line in the criteria row to make sure it's pulling the data from the drop down. And then in your form, whichever form you're using, you create the two drop downs and make sure you do the VBA code on the event on update. Okay, make sure you label them properly. As you see, well, when I didn't, what happened? All right, that's all we have to say for that topic and that section. We'll see you in the next little topic where we talk about your first exercise. See you on the other side.